had spent 2 years at home, and it just seemed like I just want to go to the university. It's not supposed to be a big deal. 2 years after graduation, 2 years after graduating with exceptional results, 2 years. Hi guys, if you're watching this video, this is a testament that God does answer prayers. This is my testimony. I wanted to go to the US because it was easy for me to flow with it. It was the US, and also because they gave a very good amount of scholarship. They had good scholarship varieties, and I didn't want my parents to pay for my school fees. I actually just wanted God to take care of it through that way. That was actually my prayer point. And I remember when the admissions had come out, and basically, so every other person was giving us that good news and how they had gotten the admission and were getting full scholarships to the US. And I was waiting to see my admission letter with the same good news from the same school that every other person had applied to. But that wasn't the case. I only got an admission letter, and for me, I was just like, why was I too late? Why was everything happening that way? And I remember in this season, I had to actually go back to God, because I was like, God, what's really going on? I did not always have in mind what after secondary school would look like. I just always thought that everything will sort out itself, like God has been sorting things out for me. So when I didn't get that, I tried to get a different school and tried to work things out to speed up the process. So it was time for the visa interview, and every other person had done their visa interview, and most of my close friends had come with their good news and how, when they went for it, something was about to happen, and God just touched the person's heart, and the person gives them the approval to go to the US. And like, I was just waiting for my own turn. I remember the night before, I could not sleep, you guys. I was so excited. I felt like everything is definitely going to work out. My friend that was close to me had come to me. I was like, when he was praying, God told that they were going to ask me 3 questions. And indeed, they did ask me 3 questions. And I even asked, my high school counselor that was helping us with this process to do a mock interview with me. He did it, and he was like, "You're very ready, you're very good to go. That's wonderful." So I felt pumped and ready to go, right? And so when I went for the interview and I came back, I was denied. I was heartbroken, devastated. Like, everything was happening at once. I was like, wait, how is this even possible? Is this me that did that? I was so heartbroken, and I was more heartbroken because I felt so special and unique, and like God backed, right? That I was too heartbroken to see that I was denied, just like majority of the other people who went for the interview that day. And so I came back to God. I was really crying about it, and I was like, why was my own so different? Why that's what I could say. Like, why was everything just the way it was? Why did I have to go through this emotional stress? And it was actually a lot. So after the whole interview thing, my mom and I actually started growing very close. See, God actually has his way of doing things. And in this period, I remember I started to grow my relationship with God. I had felt I had reached a good level enough with God. I mean, I was chapel perfect. I was leading people spiritually. I was trying to make the right decisions. At least I was growing in the Lord. In my head, I was like, at least I've done a lot of things that people my age wouldn't have been doing spiritually. But God showed me that I had not even reached this level that He wanted me to reach as I started to grow more and more in God. So one day, my dad went for a ministration at a church, and my dad didn't tell me, neither did he tell my mom. He had already made up his mind that because I had stayed at home for over a year and it was not looking normal, especially for a child who had done that well academically. So he had already made up his mind that I was going to be going to Babcock University, a university in Nigeria. And he went to the ministration, and during the ministration, someone was preaching, and the person randomly stops in the service, randomly stops preaching, and it's like, Bishop sir, God said you shouldn't take your daughter to a Nigerian university, take her abroad. And he was probably like, wow, that's how intentional God is. Wow. And so when that happened and he came to tell me, I was God, I didn't know how to react. I was excited to get a confirmation. I was now assured that okay, no matter what happened, God actually had this in control. At the same time, I was like, since I didn't say it, since it's not necessarily just my will, God is going to make it happen very fast. No, it didn't happen exactly that way. More things kept coming up, and God wanted to teach me a lot. In this period when I was at home, I was avoiding communication with every single person, especially people who went to my secondary school. See, okay, I really want to apologize now. I'm really sorry to everybody I erred because of this whole situation. I'm sure I erred you because you asked me about my university, where am I schooling. I just didn't want to give a negative news, and at the same time I didn't want to think much about it. So back to the video. I was so excited to hear the confirmation, and I was expecting a lot more than what I was getting. And with time, I started seeing my friends that had already traveled. No, they were posting, like, who wouldn't post, please? And they were so excited. I was so excited for them. I was just not excited about the fact that I was not experiencing that with them. And so I remember I had to get off social media, especially Instagram, for a good while because I didn't want to go through that mental stress. I didn't want to go through that emotional pain for no reason. And this is why I started to see that God was very, very intentional about everything I was doing. I had tried to reapply for the US visa countless times, and things were just, something was just blocking it. Like, it felt that way. Something just kept coming up. Oh, you cannot go for the interview today. Oh, we're going to shift your interview to a different day. Oh, do this, don't. Oh, sorry, you're going to come back again. Like, things were just popping up that didn't make sense. It just wasn't making sense. And I remember I had this year, the Hallelujah Challenge done this year. I can't remember the month. I think it was May or March. It was it was like a celebration of their birthday. I can't remember exactly the month. And I joined it. It was how many days of praise? I joined it, and the last day we had people who were praying and prophesying. And I remember I was dozing, and I was sleeping off because it was like past 12 and I was in school, A-levels. I was sleeping off, and I just woke up when I heard someone say something like, everything is going to work out, God already has a plan. So I woke up only at that moment, and I was like, okay, so this has to be my word. And I remember seeing myself in a school, but I just couldn't. I just felt like, okay, it has to be the US, because that was where I was tending towards. And after the Hallelujah Challenge, I felt a big relief. I felt a very big relief. And basically, I had this opportunity again to go for the US interview. So I was waiting for a date, and I heard clearly from God, wait till Monday to do an emergency interview, because I wanted to get, this is now 2024. The whole process I was talking about was 2023. So now 2024, I had an emergency interview I wanted to go for, and I heard clearly that I should wait till Monday. And I was like, okay, sure, I'm going to wait till Mama. I had already called my mom and told her that I was going to wait till Monday to do the emergency interview. I don't even know why. I felt so confident on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday. And I went and did the emergency interview. So no, Friday, I went and did the emergency interview, not doing it on Monday like God had told me to do. And on Saturday, they sent an email that they denied the emergency interview. And I was like, wait, what's going on? Why? Wait, what's going on? And I told my mom, but she was like, I thought you said we were going to wait. I was like, every other person literally in that moment was saying they did the emergency interview, they gave them the good days, and they were able to go for the interview. So I was like, probably what I should do. I got denied for it. for the emergency interview, and so they had moved the interview slot date now all the way to November of 2024, that I cannot apply for a visa interview till November. And would you guys believe, on Saturday morning, everybody now came. I was like, you guys, so they've opened the portal. You can go, they've opened the portal to get dates. I'm seeing dates as early as June something. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I was like, I remember that day I went to my house. I went to my room, the hostel. I just went to lie down, just thinking about my life. Like, Shekana, are you not tired of making mistakes? Are you not tired of everything? And so that caused a lot of delay. To show you that a lot of things were just interrupting the whole process, I deferred my admission from fall 2023 to January 2024. It couldn't work. They kept saying I couldn't get a date and I should come back. I had to defer it to fall 2024. So the mistake I made with the Hallelujah Challenge caused, after the Hallelujah Challenge, not with it, because the Hallelujah Challenge gave me the knowledge to wait till Monday. But because of the mistake I made, I now had to defer. They were now telling me that I had to defer my admission to spring 2025. Jesus is Lord. Spring 2025, and that would have been January 2025. And after I had done that, I told my mom. My mom was really angry about it because she had put in a lot of effort. And I was not even sad anymore because I was at home. I was sad because of the pressure and the pain and the stress it was taking on my parents. It was not just taking their time, it was not just taking, excitement. It was also wasting a lot of money, because I had wasted so much money on the visa process and they were not even happening. Still, I had only done one visa interview and I had like 3 or 4 visa appointments. So it was just not making sense anymore. And my mom was like, okay, we're going to do this. If you go for the next interview and they don't give you the visa, you are going to start the UK process. And I was like, all right, sure. So I was so sure that God was going to give me this one, because I just started seeing miracles happening. Well, when I say in quotes, I just started seeing things happening. So I was able to shift it from November to August. And so the one that I was in communication with in school had said that I must move my admission to spring 2025. And in that process, I was like, okay, I'm super sure that God wants me at home for a reason. Please, when things are not working and when negativity is happening, do not cover it up with God's plan. God already has a plan, but your mistakes, yes, can happen. But because you love Him, like the Bible says, all things work together for good. He can cause your mistake to align and enter the plan. But do not sit down and think that negative circumstance, cycles, bad things happening repeatedly is God. That can never be God. Understand the principles of God and know who God really is. So I had to overcome that mindset that God is the kind of person that will make you go through negativity without seeing the hand of God. No, cycles, patterns are never from God. That's the hand of the enemy. And I remember fully well that I actually had to take this very seriously and become more intentional about my prayer points. So after I had I went for the second interview officially, and I got denied again. And at this point, I think it really affected the way I saw myself. I started to feel like I had a blockade, or something was just preventing me from moving forward. I started to feel like did someone chain me down? I started to feel like a lot of things. I couldn't see the successful part of me again. I was seeing more failure than I should have been seeing. And while listening to a sermon by Pastor Jerry, he mentioned that the enemy actually wins when he's able to get into your mind and trap you in your mind, because the Bible has made it clear, whatever a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So because your mind is saying you are consistently going to be failing, you will be consistently failing. So that's exactly what was going on, and it wasn't supposed to be. So after I had gotten denied, my mom just got up the following day, went and started the UK process. As the UK process was going on, the woman called me. We called the woman. I just randomly saw an email and we're like, oh, their admission for UK 2024 fall has closed and that we have to defer our admission to January, saying the exact same thing the US school was saying. And I do not know where this came from. I went downstairs and I felt a very strong notion to pray. So I went downstairs and I prayed so much. I knew that after that prayer I had done something had happened. And I went upstairs and mom was like, oh, the woman called and said they've opened your admission, because from the course I was going for, there was no January intake, it was only September intake, meaning that I'm supposed to wait another year to get into school. That made me stay at home for 3 years. God forbid. And so I remember when I went upstairs, mom was like, they've opened your admission. This your prayer is working. And I went back downstairs. I was just like, God, you're the one doing this. You're the one doing this. Complete what you started. And this was where I actually let go and let God. Like, let go of trying to be in charge. Let go of trying to make things work out the way I wanted to. And let God take control. I remember a friend in my A-level school that was, one day we were praying that he was just like, Sheikh, you're going to go to the UK. And I remember saying, God forbid. I was just sorry. I was like, you don't understand. I've gone through a lot in this US thing. It got to be US. Sometimes when God is closing the door, he's closing it for a reason. And he was like, he had just prayed about it, and God told him that he got an assurance I was going to be going to the UK. And I was like, your assurance is wrong. I'm definitely going to the US. But God is true and he never lies. So after everything happened, after that particular period, I told you guys that I prayed so much, I was super sure that something had moved and something had changed. My mom said to get my things, and I prayed a very wonderful prayer. I said this exactly like this: Lord, since you said this word last year that I'm supposed to school outside the country, and you do not lie, and your word has never fallen to the ground, not even the words in the Bible have fallen to the ground before. So I'm saying this, by September 26th, everything, my hair, my nails, everything will be done, including my visa for the UK. And basically that was my prayer point. And I told God that that's going to happen, and when he does, I'm going to make a full-blown testimony video of what he has done. So after that, my mom just started buying things. Now the UK visa started. I had to get everything done. I did my interview for the UK. I was so scared. I was scared of getting denied again. I prayed and prayed and prayed so much about it. I prayed so much because I had this consciousness. I felt there were two loud voices in my head saying, it will be alright, God's in control. What if they deny you again? What if they deny you again? Everything was okay with the US but you got denied. What if they deny you again? And I remember I joined NSPBD prayers one morning, and that day I just started to bawl out my eyes. I was like, God, I cannot do this again. I can't do it on my own. Like, God, please do not deny me. Let them not deny me. And I was like, what kind of person do you want me to be? Do you want me to be the kind of person that has been praying consistently, following your word, and still be suffering and living in the littlest level that they ought to? And immediately after I made that prayer point, the person we were praying with, that's Pastor Jerry, on the live stream, just said, God told me to tell someone. I'm just hearing, as I'm saying this, I'm just hearing how God was speaking to me, but in the moment, it wasn't feel like God. So he said, God told me to tell someone that I will never let the enemy have the last laugh. I will make sure it all ends in praise. I'm going to do it for him. I'm going to complete it. And I strongly knew that God was speaking to me. So I was just like, God, thank you. I was so grateful. In all of this, what bothered me the most was not even, again, it wasn't even me. It wasn't even the fact that the studying abroad wasn't going exactly how I wanted it. In fact, I started praying, God, whether it is Nigerian university or not, I just want to enter school. But what was bothering me the most was my mom and my dad, especially because I didn't like the way this was affecting them at all. So after that prayer, the following day, the sponsorship interview result came out. It was successful. I was so excited, and it was time for me to get ready for the UK visa interview. So while preparing for all of this, remember you guys that the reason why I wanted to go to the US was because I did not want my parents to pay a dime for my fees, even if they could. Well, God answered that prayer. My UK schools generally don't give that much scholarship. They'll give like 2k, 3k. I think the highest I've seen so far is 5k, probably more. So I was like, okay, if they remove 5,000 or 2k from my tuition fee, that's still a lot of money, like a lot of money, especially during the period that Naira wasn't really increasing when we compare it with the UK pounds. And and basically that period, my prayer point had now been, Lord, I don't want my parents to pay. If your plan is for me to don't get a scholarship and you want to show me that you're the almighty Jireh and can provide no matter what, Shasha, I don't want my parents to pay. Would you guys believe that God is the one opening these doors? And I remember the prayer point I made, and my full tuition that I didn't want my parents to pay was cleared out even without my parents even feeling it. Like, it was gone, and I was just like, Jesus Christ. I was just so surprised. I was like, God, this has to be you. This actually has to be you. Things were just happening, doors were opening up, and I had not even gotten my phone. Somehow I got the phone, the dream phone. You guys know I'm a Samsung girl, but I got the dream phone. And I was like, okay. And then after the whole thing, I got the laptop I wanted. I was just asking what's going on, and I just had to see that when God is involved with you, He doesn't leave a part out of it. And so my course was to start. The latest resumption for my course was October 7th. My visa process began. I went for the biometrics September 30th. That making it exactly 1 week away, and I had to be in school for the end of the week. I did for those of us who understand the UK visa stuff, they will send it, and if depending on the one you pick, so I did priority, not super priority. Priority will mean 3 to 5 working days. 1st of October, Independence Day of Nigeria, so they were on public holiday. They did not start my visa process, and I was counting 3 days, so that was supposed to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sorry, Tuesday was October 1st, so that was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I had to travel before Monday. And on Wednesday, and I received an email them saying they had just received my package as per they had not yesterday any stuff. I was like, what do you guys mean by you just received? And so while that was happening, my dad now went and paid and booked a ticket for me to travel on Saturday, in faith that I will be traveling on Saturday. And while I was so excited my father had that much faith, God knew that I didn't have that much faith. I was like, I started getting very scared and anxious. See, the enemy was really spitting lies. The devil is indeed a liar. And he was like, yeah, that money has gone to a waste too. So what if they don't give you a visa because it has to take 3 to 5 working days, and they had just received it on Wednesday. Tuesday, that was going to be Thursday, Friday, Monday. And so I now went to God. I was really praying. I was like, God, I beg. Thursday came, God, I beg. This email has not come. I don't know what to say. I was just like, God, even if you're not doing it for me, do it for my parents. Let their prayer points change. Let Shekinah stop being at home. Just do it for them. And then I just had this clearance from God that I should go upstairs and kind of play and do something else entirely. So my mom and I were now watching one cookie competition on Netflix, and then the Holy Spirit was just like, check your email. I checked it, and I saw that oh, come and get your package, it's ready. And I was so excited. I told my mom was screaming. I called my dad was like, Shekinah, your faith works. And in my head I was like, Daddy, if you know how small my faith is, you believe that a mustard seed juju can carry mountain. It was a lot. And I was just like seeing how faithful God was. Then the enemy came again. Yes, you're going to go and pick up a passport, but what if they denied the visa? Because I don't even know why, for some reason I was watching UK visa denials. I was reading circumstances where people get denied UK visa. Like, it doesn't even make sense. Jesus is Lord. I don't even know how that makes sense, but and I was not scared. I was like, what if they deny me? Oh my god, oh my god. My mom was so excited. My mom had already said, telling people, yes, your daughter is traveling on Saturday. People who had been involved on the process, people who have been praying alongside with her. So on Friday morning, we went to go get it. In front of that, like as I got it instantly, I never wait for my parents. I thought it's over. Okay, let me just let the end come. Let me just know what the decision was. And of course, they gave me the visa. I was so excited. I was happy. I was so excited, you guys. I was too glad. So glad. I did my nails that day because I was like, if I get the visa, I'm going to do my nails. And glory be to God. I got it and everything went the way it was. And I got my visa on Friday, and on Saturday morning I traveled to the UK, and I resumed school, of course, early on Monday morning, like every other student had resumed school. So my story has come to a wonderful end because this is where God has done his thing. I don't know how else to say God is good. Like, I can't even start thinking about the goodness of God. Even right now, I remember how many times I cried about this whole matter. And I remember seeing this whole thing I'm living in right now as an I remember seeing this whole thing as a figment of my imagination. Something that doesn't want to come to life. Something that is not coming to life. And it was just not looking real. I just want to thank God because God is good. God, I'm using this testimony to say thank you. And I'm believing that God has a reason for me doing this video testimony. Because I know that there are lots of people out there who are going through processes. May not be exactly the same as mine. Maybe a business proposal, maybe getting married, maybe settling in something, may it actually also be resuming school. I want you to remember to carry God in the whole thing, and God may just want to get your attention. So to make this whole testimony complete, remember how I told you guys that I felt like I had wasted 2 years at home? So if I had resumed school with my classmates, that my close friends who resumed last year, to the US, I have been graduating 2027. Can I put it to you that God is so faithful and true, and when the Bible says that he makes all things work out for our good, even when you make the mistake and even when you cause the delay, he can cause it to turn out for your good. He actually means it, because I'll be graduating the same year, 2027, even though I resumed school 2024. How God does it, I don't know, but God is really faithful. So to anyone who feels that God is not there, or you feel like you're going through the worst circumstance, or you feel like you're wasting so much time, my testimony is so obvious that you cannot waste so much time that God can't deliver. God is able to restore the years wasted, the time wasted, everything. I cannot even start preaching now because that'll be a totally different, that'll be another video. Like, I can't even start preaching about how good God is. Stay true to him. And like the executive director of my high school told me when I told him the whole circumstance I was going through, he said, trust God to be the one to write your story. Make sure you make your story your own. Don't let the enemy use this video against you and lie to you and be like, oh, God has already answered her prayer, see the testimony, see prophecy, it's until you have those kind of things. Nah, I wasn't feeling that way. I wasn't getting that much at all. But holding on to God was what helped me. And I cannot say thank you enough to my parents. My parents have been wonderful. I was just imagining myself, imagine if I did not have this kind of friends. Like, when you hear stories of friends who are like, your own is too much, I beg, please leave the house. At a point, I actually thought that could even I just want to say thank you to my mom and to my dad, because I know how much they spent on this process and it was not just coming through. But then God was faithful after the whole denial process and everything. I just want to say thank you to God, to my parents, and also to my loving friends. The ones that I kept up to date with everything, and the ones that I was avoiding because I didn't want them to get worried and stressed. Like, my friends really did a lot. Some of them made it their sole priority to ensure that I got into university. Some of them were praying for me. Like, I cannot say thank you to all of you. And all of you include the SAT members that were part of this whole thing. I also want to thank my high school, the Ambassadors College. I want to also say thank you to them, because even after the whole denial process and everything, they were still up to date. They were still communicating with my mom. They were trying to see how they could help. I don't know how else to say thank you. I just want to say thank you to everyone who saw me through this process. And it's official. This will be my very first video. And welcome officially to my channel. I don't know how consistent this will be, but as it all leads. See you guys in another day.